All right, hello, welcome to the weather update. It's almost 10 o'clock on the 21st of December, first day of winter, but we have rain on the way. You can see here we had some more of those high clouds today, contrails, in the sky. So not the kind of nice sky we had yesterday. Uh, Temperatures, but it was a quiet day, more or less, a peaceful day. That is not going to be the way it's going to be as we get to the next. You can see all what this storm system is triggering across the country. You can see blizzard warnings in effect here, wind chill warnings. This is where the Arctic air is right now. If we go look at the temperatures across the observations here, we'll show you this is where the Arctic air is, and you can see, yeah, look at that, 18 below in Bismarck right now. So, yeah, this is some pretty cold air. It's going to dive down to the south first, and then it's going to come in our direction as we get toward Friday, and it's going to cause a rapid swing in temperatures. But right now, the main weather issues that we are looking at right now, we have a coastal flood warning in effect. Coastal flood warning in effect from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Friday, and we have a wind advisory in effect from 10 p.m. Thursday to 10 p.m. Friday. So we have those two things in effect, and then I think there's another. Let's see, we have another light shade there. Coastal flood watch for the North Shore, but I'm pretty sure that will be upgraded to a warning probably, given the conditions that we're going to be experiencing. So you can see temperatures generally around the freezing mark, 28 degrees at Islip, a little bit below freezing there. If we look at West Hampton, though, you see it has dropped to 21, so it looks like some areas are getting to see some of that radiational cooling as well. In the Pine Barrens, you can see 22 there, Berkeley Township as well. So Pine Barrens area our areas are cooling off more than a lot of other areas. So let's go look at the highs for the day and the lows, and you'll see that our highs probably were a little warmer than yesterday. Yeah, a little bit warmer, low 40s, close to average for this time of the year. 41, 42, 40 at Islip, a little warmer in New Jersey. Let's look at our lows. And our lows are generally, wow, big difference there. Look at that, 14 in West Hampton. So it looks like they were able to get that radiational cooling in at West Hampton last night, and they got down to 14 degrees. Everybody else pretty much lows in the mid-20s, 23 at Islip for a low. City around 29, and it looks like in the upper teens in Jersey. So the coldest spot is West Hampton once again. Always is, that's for sure. So let's take a look and see what we have heading our way with the storm system right now. So we're going to take a look at the radar from the whole country right now. And as I deal with my arm again acting up, oh my God, still dealing with this. So you can see here that you can see all that snow there across this is the first system right here, and then there's another system off the coast here. You can see this is the storm here. This is the Arctic front actually. This is what's going to be moving eastward, and it's amazing how fast this is going to all come together. Looking at the weather map right now, we'll go to the weather map, Weather Prediction Center. And you will see here is that low. Here's that other low across the coast. Here's the front. And this is all going to be shifting eastward quite rapidly. So let's see if the Weather Service has a briefing about this storm here. They may have a briefing or they may not have a briefing. Let's see. They do have a briefing about it. So coastal flood warning upgraded. We have heavy rain, 1.5 to 2.5 inches, locally 3 inches. Yes, another soaker. This is December is going to turn out to be, I think, one of the wettest on record at the rate we're going. I want to take a look at the December rainfall because I'm pretty sure we're above normal already. That's the entire tri-state region with strong winds, 25 to 35 miles an hour with gusts 45 to 55 miles an hour. Could be some scattered power outages. Coastal impacts, it could be pretty bad. 1 to 2 feet inundation locally, 3 feet of flooding possible. And this is going to be with the Friday. Unfortunately, the timing of the storm is going to be hitting at the high tide Friday. That's what makes it a problem. And then we're going to have post-Arctic front snow showers. This is going to mainly be to the north and the west. All right, and then the cold temperatures will follow behind it. Wind chills of 5 below to 5 above. Friday afternoon to Friday night. So this is going to be a real whiplash of a storm. That's what makes it quite unusual. And again, so this is This is some of the wind gusts that we could have. So we could have wind gusts over 50 miles an hour, perhaps, as well as a flash freeze potential, perhaps, because this cold air is going to come in, and it's really gonna. And they're showing some maps of where the coastal flood impacts would be worst on the south shore. Look at this. So here's a map here. They're taking this pretty seriously. The areas you see in color could have some flooding. The colored areas, and a lot of areas on the south shore could have a lot of flooding, especially the Bay Area Islands. So this is definitely, they're showing all this information. I'll have to link this briefing to you, but you can see here, and the Fire Island as well. And I believe the Fire Islands ferries is going to be shutting down as well because of this storm. This is going to be because of the timing of the winds and the high tide is what makes this a pretty high impact event. And you can see some of the map that they're providing. So let's go to the models now, and this is what we're going to have to look at here. So it doesn't look like much now. This is the GFS at 18Z, but you can see as we move this along, here it comes. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to have these systems kind of just merging together. You can see how this storm is transferring its energy to this storm right here, all right? This secondary storm that's going to develop, all right? Rain starts tomorrow, probably tomorrow afternoon, and it's going to be heavy. See here, and you can see how deep this storm is. So you get the winds here. Here we are into Friday, all right? Low, and that this front's going to come through in the afternoon, early in the afternoon, probably on Friday. See how tight those isobars are. That's a lot of wind. And look at there. We're not even getting the worst of it. In Chicago, where they call it the Windy City, they're going to really be getting some very strong winds from this very deep low pressure system here. 969 millibar low. It's just very low. It goes into the Great Lakes, and then behind it we have the Arctic air that's going to be funneling down. We can draw it out for you. It's going to be funneling down right here. So the Arctic air, we might as well put that in purple because it's really cold air. Going to be funneling down across the, you can see right around that low there, all right? And that's the other thing that we have to watch out for is the Arctic air that is we're going to be dealing with behind this. So it's like a 1-2 punch, two different types of weather that we're going to have to see. And I want to actually put the temperatures on here and show you, again, track this Arctic outbreak as it comes through. So you can see it dives to the south first. Here we are Friday, midnight tomorrow. And then as we get into Friday, it spreads east. And you can see it spreads into the east. And we're going to be dealing with it on Christmas Eve day, Christmas Day. And this is going to be, a pretty cold air mass that we're going to have to deal with here. All right. So now let's take a closer look at the northeast and this storm. So let me go to the HRRR right now, and we'll go to the 0Z run of the HRRR, and we will look at the precipitation. Actually, I want to keep this on the. I want to actually, we'll use the HRRR for now. All right. So Friday night. Actually, this is total accumulated precip. It's here. So dry tonight, obviously. The rain moves in, and it's moving in a lot earlier than we thought. The worst of it's going to be later tomorrow night. But now it looks like it's going to be more into the afternoon. So the rain starts in the afternoon, and it becomes heavy at times. Probably by 5 o'clock or so, we're going to deal with some heavy rain, and that rain is going to be with us for a while. Heavy rain continues through the night, and really doesn't wind up until probably Friday morning. All right, we have a break Friday morning. You can see we're kind of in between the two systems there, and we're kind of in the warm sector. But here comes the cold front, and I would not be surprised if this cold front has severe weather with it. It would not surprise me if there is severe thunderstorms with this cold front, because, again, there's a really nice little V there. I don't think the Storm Prediction Center has anything for us. I'm going to see right now if they do. Let me first go and look at the, before we even go to that, I want to look at the rainfall this month here so far that we've had, and we'll go to iSlip, and we'll just see how much rain iSlip has had this month so far. So we've had 3.54 inches, so already above the normal value of 3.27, and we could get almost double that with this storm perhaps. The potential is there. So let me go to the Storm Prediction Center and see if they're issuing anything for severe weather. Day 1 convective outlook, no severe. Day 2 convective outlook, yes. There's a marginal risk along the coast. I wouldn't surprise me if they move that up. So this is for Friday again. This is our concern here that we have. All right, I'll have to look at some cape levels and stuff like that, because when I see something like this, when there's a sharp bend in the isobards like that, that's a sharp front. You have warm air ahead of it. There's a lot of energy with this storm, and we could see severe weather Friday, severe thunderstorms, or some type of squall line with this front. Once the front passes, the temperatures drop very rapidly. All right, so once this is over, it's not really predicting any snow for us, but we're going to show you the first of all the dew points here. So look at that. I mean, that's so ahead of the front you have very mild dew points, and then behind the front dew points are below zero. So that's just an incredible difference in air masses for sure. So as we head into tomorrow, the dew points, the air does moisten up. You'll see that moisture come in, especially as we get toward tomorrow night. It's going to get moist out there. Very strong southeasterly winds, and then then the winds. Then we have this almost like a warm front pass or whatever. We have a winds from the south, and then we have the cold front pass. So you can kind of see it right here. We can draw that out for you. In fact, we'll just put the temperatures on the screen to show you here that you can see where the warm front is and the cold front is. But yeah, this is really Arctic air here that we're going to be getting in here, all right? It's real Arctic air, all right? And then look at this as we get into Friday night. The afternoon Friday, dew points drop through the teens and go below zero. So this is a big front coming through that's going to wind up coming through for Friday. This may be a historic front because we may never have seen a temperature change like this before in our area before. We're going to be going from 50s down into the teens in a matter of hours. I mean, this is typical for see out west. So let's go now and we'll look at the air temperatures on this, and you'll see tonight probably radiational cooling. We'll see how cold it gets. 20s for a lot of us, maybe teens in the Pine Barrens. And tomorrow, we're in the 40s. Temperatures rise into the 50s overnight. 50s, look at that, 50s overnight, early Friday. And then they drop a little bit when the wind turns more subtly. Interesting. So there'll look a little bit of a gap there, all right? So they drop into the 40s. And then look what happens with this front here. Look at that. Look at that. Just go the dividing line right there, right around. This is right around noon Friday. Friday's going to be a very interesting day. And then the temperatures drop into the 30s by noon, and then into the 20s by later in the afternoon, and by nightfall we're in the teens. And look at this. I mean, this is a historic. This is as of Friday night, and you can see. Look to the north and west. We have single digits. If you're in Pennsylvania, you're below zero. If you're upstate, you're below zero. So that's real, what I call weather whiplash. And honestly, I've never seen anything like this before. But again, with climate change, this is what we can expect as our weather just gets all topsy-turvy and everything. So there's a big change in the temperature. So the other aspect of this is the rainfall. So let's go look at the total accumulated rainfall. 1 to 2 inches. HRRR not being as generous as some of the other models regarding rainfall. So we're going to have to go and look at some of the other models regarding rainfall. And I guess I'll put this onto the GFS. We'll go to the GFS. GFS is in line with it, I guess. The Weather Service seems to be going a little more. I think that's because they're using the NAM. Yes, they are. So the NAM is giving us, most of us all, at least 2 inches. All right, so the NAM's definitely got a different look to it. So we're going to go into the NAM now, and we're going to look at the NAM model as far as this front goes. Obviously, that's the one they're using. So let's go and look at the NAM. So, again, NAM brings in the rain in the afternoon. Not quite as heavy as or as quick as the HRRR, but then after, I would say, 5 o'clock, that's when the rain really starts coming down, and there's going to be heavy rain overnight. Continuing, you can see heavy rain, maybe even some thunderstorms in there, continuing to that Friday morning hour, all right? Then we have that break, and then the front comes through. Here comes the front again that we'd have to watch out for. It's just a quick shower with this. It'll be through in the early afternoon, and then it's done, all right? And then we have clearing. We have the cold front come through. And if you look at this, you'll see this could be some Long Island sound effect snows. Because, again, this is such a significant drop in temperature that we're going to see. So this is very, like I said, very sharp front. Most people have never experienced a front like this before. But this front is going to be very, very sharp. So now that we've looked at all that information, There are a couple other things that I want to look at as well. Let me go look at the FGen so you can get an idea of what's happening with this front. All right, so you can see the darker reds. That's where the best lift is, but there's still decent lift in the atmosphere. And then this is the cold air advection coming through, and that's tremendous cold air advection. We haven't even gotten to the winds yet. We haven't even spoken about that. All right. So let's now go and look at the winds. I'm going to use the HRRR. Well, I'll use the NAM 12 for the wind, I think, or we could use the FV3. You know, let me use the FV3. This is, by the way, is the NAM 12 FGen as well. All right, this is FGen at 850. You can see some of that really. Look at that. That's some really significant lift right there in the atmosphere. Let's go to this one here, 700. So you can see the biggest. Yeah, look at that. That's incredible right there. So again, this is, you can see tomorrow night, you can see it coming through. All right, and there could be a thunderstorm with that too, by the way. Can't rule that out either, by the way. All right. So now let me go and look at the winds, because that is the next aspect of things, the surface winds that we're going to be dealing with. All right. This is the NAM, and you can see mostly along the coast are the worst winds. And then we have the front come through, and we're going to have some pretty strong winds behind the front. But the damaging winds will be ahead of the front. GFS, here's the GFS, which we can use as well. You can see generally idea worst winds are going to be at the coast. But that's where we're going to have that coastal flooding because of the timing. And then behind the front, you can see also some pretty strong winds. We're going to look at several sites with this because this site, I feel, has a tendency to just not show the complete picture with the wind. All right. So let's go to the Ventusky site, and we will go and look at the wind on this. And wind gusts, we'll go to wind gusts, and we'll move this over to tomorrow. And even it picks up tomorrow, even by 5 o'clock, you'll start seeing the winds gust up to into the 30s. By 7 o'clock, we're going to start seeing winds gust up to the 40s. You can see winds from the east there. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. You can see gusts now approaching 50 miles an hour, especially out toward eastern Suffolk and along the shore. We move this toward Friday overnight. Here we go, Friday overnight. See things picking up here. Look at that. Some of those winds offshore. Hopefully they stay offshore. But here's we go to 4. You'll see. Look at this. Look at Tom's River here. Gusts up to 46 possible, right around 4 in the morning for Friday. That moves into our area 5 in the morning. And look at this. 72, 71 mile an hour wind gusts over New York City around 5 a.m. So again, with these showers and thunderstorms, there could be some significant winds with these, and I think there could be some significant power outages as a result of this. So as far as how many people could lose power, I would say 50,000 perhaps in Long Island, perhaps as well in the whole entire area. Maybe yeah, it could be as much as 50,000 depending on the wind, and of course then you have the high tide too. So this is going to be almost like a mini tropical storm almost with these kind of winds. All right. And still dealing with the winds here, 7 a.m. This belt of winds is now gone. All right, and this is the HRRR model, by the way. But then another belt of winds develops ahead of the cold front. And look at this, winds gusting 60 to 70 miles an hour likely. I think that they might actually have to issue a high wind warning with this. All right, this is right ahead of the cold front, right around 10 in the morning. All right, and then here we are. Look at this, 60, 64, 67 miles an hour wind gusts over the Forks ahead of this cold front here. All right, again, this is the HRRR model. You can see it's really gung-ho on that. So we're going to have 2 wind events here with this. All right, this is just like a really crazy river of air that we have. And this is all part of an LLJ, or low-level jet, that's ahead of the front. So if I take up the elevation, can I do that with this one? All right, I have to go to wind speed. But if I go to wind speed and I take up the elevation, let's go 1,000 meters up. All right. Here's 4 in the morning. Look at this. So these are the strong winds that are about 1,000 meters up. There's 7 o'clock. So yeah, there's some pretty strong winds up above us, and that is the LLJ that's going to be ahead of this front. And again, if I put the temperatures on the screen, all right, we're going to put this back to not sea surface, but to me. All right, we'll use this. You'll see again the change here. All right, and here we are, upper 40s. You're toasty. Around 10 in the morning, by noon, boom, you're dropping. One part of Long Island may be in the 20s. The East End may be in the 40s. But here comes the cold air. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Look at this. By 2 o'clock, we're already down to the 20s. And look at this, down in the low 20s by 4 o'clock. By 6 o'clock, we're in the teens. All right, look at some of this really, really cold air. By 9 o'clock, in the teens already. So that's what we're going to be dealing with. It's going to be very, very dramatic change with this front. All right. So we've spoken about the wind. Now let's speak about what's going to happen after this front moves through. All right. So let me move. We're looking at the GFS now, and we'll look at the temperatures as we head into your. Actually, we'll put the dew points on here. Dew point and wind flow. All right. So here comes the Arctic air, and you can see winds are west southwesterly. Saturday, very dry air. Dew points only around 0. Very dry air. But we will have the wind, so that's going to keep the radiational cooling from happening. But it's still going to get very cold at night. Still, this Christmas Day. Christmas Eve, obviously, is going to be very cold. Christmas Day, little less wind. Still still breezy. And we're still dealing with the Arctic air. And the Arctic air is going to be with us Monday as well. You can see here. Tuesday, this is next Tuesday. And then it finally starts lifting out on Wednesday. All right, but those are dew points, all right? That just shows you where the air came from. Came from the Arctic Circle. It came from Siberia. So here we are Saturday. You can see by Saturday morning we'll have temperatures in the teens, maybe single digits. And then for Saturday itself, we're going to only be in the lower, probably mid-20s. That's going to do it. And then Saturday night, Christmas Eve, it's going to be very cold. Teens, maybe some single digits. And then for Christmas Day itself, we're going to have highs generally in the mid to upper 20s. Still very cold. And then look at that. Monday, it's just the same. We're going to still be cold. Highs maybe in the upper 20s now. All right. For Tuesday, we finally maybe try to get above freezing. So we're going to have a couple of day, good 3-day stretch of temperatures below freezing, which is good. This is a good Arctic outbreak. It's good for killing off the southern pine beetle. So I'm very happy about that. But it's going to be very uncomfortable for a lot of us to deal with outside. So we'll go looking at the skies next. And as we head and look at the skies, obviously for Friday, we'll have plenty of clouds. Tomorrow will be overcast. And then we have to watch out for lake effect and ocean, all kinds of, it's going to be a lot of instability in the air. Who knows? The skies are going to probably be filled with a lot of clouds probably on Christmas Eve day. But this is the GFS here. For the next day, it's Christmas Day, it looks like we'll have a little more sun here. You can see, though, still ocean effect could be affecting, again, Long Island Sound effect could be affecting the East End, maybe New Jersey, not seeing any of that. And as we head toward Monday, we'll have to watch for it. Looks like that cirrus stays to the south, so Monday should be a sunny day. And then we'll have a nice sunny stretch here Tuesday, and then as Wednesday, we'll have to deal with some more clouds again. Of course, this is a GFS to low resolution model. Let me shift now to the RGEM. And we'll use the 18Z RGEM for this because I don't have enough of the latest in. So here's Thursday, obviously Friday. You can see this front come through here, though I think the clouds stick around Friday. But then look what happens Saturday. You'll see here a lot of instability effect cloudiness here across. It looks like less across New Jersey, but quite a bit across Long Island. That's as far as that model goes. And then as we go, because again, the water temperatures of the ocean are probably around 50 degrees or something like that. I'll have to check, but you might even have some Long Island Sound effect snow developing from this. All right, that's the R. No, I don't want the R. FV3. I don't have enough of the latest FV3, so I can't use that. So let me bring this back to the storm that we're going to be dealing with and the weather whiplash that we're going to be dealing with this storm, all right? And I want to actually just look at the general wind speed now for Friday. So we're just looking at the actual wind speed, sustained wind, all right? Sustained winds don't look all that terrible here at 5 a.m. You can see there is a little bit of a peak around here, so 30s. And this 5 a.m. time frame Friday, and then as we get into ahead of that cold front, we're going to also have to watch for some very strong southerlies that are going to develop too. So, this is going to be quite a storm, and I think a high wind warning probably will be necessary at some point for this storm. The other issue that we've got to get to now is the waves. Yeah, we're not done yet. So let's go to 4 a.m. here. You can see we've got 10-footers. Here we are, 7, 10-footers, even 13-footers approaching the South Shore. There's going to be a lot of flooding of the barrier islands, I think. A lot of flooding on the South Shore. I think it's going to be quite bad with these winds at the timing because they're hitting at high tide. By 1 o'clock when the winds go west, it should improve. though, according to this. It's still lagging, and it's still showing some high seas off the south shore. So, but at least the wind will be blowing away from the shoreline. All right. Now, this is the HRRR's opinion. This is the model. This is the model of the HRRR. I want to look at one more site here, and that's windy.com as well. So we're going to look at windy.com as well, which is the European model. And we're going to go and see what it thinks what's going to happen with these wind gusts tomorrow. As we start into tomorrow night. Here's tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. We're starting to see those winds gusts already up. And then as we head into the overnight period, here we are in the overnight Friday, close to 50 miles an hour. And then here we are, 4 a.m. You can see European not quite as crazy as the HRRR with these wind gusts. But it's still pretty substantial. We're going to have to watch for it. The chances of some pretty strong winds. Like I said, 70-mile-an-hour gusts to hurricane force, not out of the question. And it's going to be windy behind that front, too. The damaging winds should be over, I think, by later in the probably by evening. But you can still see 50-mile-an-hour gusts. So it's going to be pretty bad. Pretty bad storm that we're going to have to deal with. And again, if we look at the waves here, this is on the European model now. You can see here some pretty rough waves again. It's going to be some. That's why they put the inundation maps up. There's going to be a lot of flooding from this storm. All right. Let me now go to the. We can actually switch this over to the GFS, and I'm going to go look at the winds. Go back to the wind here, wind gusts. See what the difference is on the GFS here. So these are the wind gusts on the GFS. Ouch, 54 miles an hour. Yeah, tomorrow night is going to be very rough. And there could be a significant amount of power outages, and I'll try to keep you updated on it. Hopefully I don't lose power. But, given the infrastructure around here, that's always entirely possible. 55-mile-an-hour wind gusts here. And then the winds go to the west later on, and then you see those temperatures drop. So this is going to be one heck of a storm for tomorrow. Tomorrow night into Friday. Of course, it's a big travel day. Worst timing possible. Absolute worst timing. Worst timing, and the timing on this is absolutely horrible. This storm here. So, let me go back to the other model here, the Event 2 Sky. One more thing that we're going to look at here, I think, is the thunderstorm risk see if there's any cape here that we're going to have here as we head into the Friday morning hours here. 1, 2, or I don't see any cape, but it doesn't mean there's a little bit right there, just a little bit, right around the 10 o'clock. There's a little bit in the air, and then, of course, if we go to lifted index, we have a little bit of that, too, as well. So, thunderstorms, not out of the question. I think they could be entirely possible. Helicities, that's through the roof. So, yeah, this is, you have a lot of wind shear out there. This is going to be one of the just terrible timing for this storm, and, that's all I can say. So, that's going to wrap up this weather update. Again, overnight tomorrow into the Friday, the first half of Friday, it's going to be very rough, and then we have, it's going to 1-2 punch. You're going to have the wind, the rain, flash flooding, coastal flooding, wind damage, possible power outages, and then when the front comes through, the temperatures are going to drop rapidly, and that's going to cause a whole new set of problems with the cold. So that's going to wrap up this weather update. A lot to cover, and I'll keep you informed on this, because I think a lot of people don't realize how bad this storm is going to be. It's going to be pretty bad. So that's going to wrap up this weather update. Have a good night.